Welcome everyone on today's Metal3 Community meeting. Today is the 26th of April, 2023. Just a note, if you are watching this on YouTube and you are not sure why a week was skipped, it's because last week was KubeCon and quite a few interested parties were at KubeCon. So we thought it's for the best to skip last week's community meeting. And to continue with today's meeting, we would start with introductions. What I see that there are no new participants, so we can skip that. Usual reminders, as always, feel free to add your organization as an adopter in a form of a PR to the adopters.md file, following the link in the reminders. We see that there is actually an interest for MetaCube, and there are more organizations using it and even contributing to it than the official adopters. So please do so. It would have the project incubation proposal draft as usual. Feel free to comment. I will move it from HackMD to Google Docs, same way as the PTG planning when I have time. I sadly didn't have any. And then related to the incubation, if you want to read more, you can read more about the process on the CNCF-TOC in the CNCF-TOC repository, and you can check out even the diagrams for the process. And then lastly, there is the PTG agenda that we were looking at on the last community meeting. I just tried to organize it a bit, but just minor stuff. I removed two topics that are not really relevant. One was duplicate, and the other was just not really relevant, I believe, for our project. So feel free to add your ideas. I will mention this document later also. So now we can go to our usual topics, to the agenda, and the agenda starts with two links from Tuomo. One is a request to continue the communication and the review process on this share check and share check fix PR for the ironic image. Basically, it went a bit silent, so just please, if you have time, continue reviewing this. We started to do these some times ago now. I done one for the MetaCube Devon was, so this sometimes shed some light on some hidden problems. Even at least with the Devon, we have hit a few interesting bugs that were unearthed by this share check optimization, or basically shell optimization, syntax fixes, and so on. Yeah, so that's one. Please check it out. And then the other is just FYI.
Yeah, I wanted to shortly comment that I'm not reviewing it anymore because I expressed my objection and nothing resolved it. Like, it's busy work that doesn't bring any benefit to the project. At least most of it is just personal taste. You can go other way. My personal taste is different, so I'm not like blocking it, hard blocking, but I'm also not going to review or approve that because my personal taste is different than your personal taste.
I see. Okay, but I understand this, so I can accept that there are different ways people look at syntax. I also won't side with any parties. If it collects to like an IGTM and then approve, I guess you are also fine with it. What, yeah. If someone is interested and would have the rights, please review. If not, if all the reviewers or people with IGTM rights decide that it's not according to your taste, then I guess this will stay as a PR. there is no one to force anything. Yeah, but thanks for mentioning it at least. If Tuomo asks or watches the recording, he will know. Is there anyone else who would like to comment anything? It's fine if you have objections.
Just a question: do you have any suggestion for another tool to or let's say a different configuration that would be better? I'm just I'm just after something to keep the bash that we have, let's say, in some kind of guideline, so it's similar between also repos and within them.
Yeah, it personally reduces the scope of this tool. My biggest problem is probably with forcing curly brackets for every variables, which is absolutely arbitrary. And I can understand the consistency argument, but I don't think any project's really doing that, like enforcing. It's akin to some Python project enforcing using double quotas instead of single quotas. I can see the reasoning, but converting a large code base and then forcing it through CI, I don't know, it feels a bit overreaching to me. So there's useful stuff there. I think if we could omit the things that generated the most changes, we could end up with a much smaller patch that brings much more value.
All right, that sounds good. I can discuss it with Tuomo also, because I think it should be possible to, let's say, configure which specific rules it cares about. So for example, curly brackets or something like that. We can take a look at that. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. And I hope then if there is this sort of different point of views, we can continue discussing this on the next community meetings. Yeah. And I think this is kind of, how to say, like it originates from like our workflow. I can understand that it's a bit aggressive in the open source, but it comes from the fact that downstream we have very strict guidelines, and probably that's why we have to be a bit more lenient and come up with more compromises. Yeah, I can see that. Thanks for the feedback. Is there anyone else? Questions or opinions? Okay, if not, then there is another. This is just an FYI. This is an advisory that was published, result of a report that we received about a possible vulnerability to our official security email address, and it was handled. It was nice to see that it was nice to see our whole security process in action and seeing how this developed. And just follow the link, you will see what was the result of the published advisory. It's I wouldn't see this as something major. Maybe we see the severity in a combined value. I have not checked this today, or maybe only just the.
Yeah, it's there, the severity on the right side.
Right side,
Moderate
so
6.
Moderate, yeah. So it's basically just that. Please read it if you are interested. And I don't know if it's not possible to comment on it. Yeah, it's not. Okay, that's that. And then, is there any question?
Yeah, I could say something just about this security thing that I think. Just thank you to the security team. I'm also in there for taking care of it, and I think it was a very good thing that we went through the process now. So we know how it works, and we are better prepared also in the future if something would show up. This was not that like, I mean, it's not high severity on this. It's not that big of a deal, but I think it also shows when we have been talking a lot about like moving on to incubation and that those things, and this I think is an important step. We need to have these processes in place, and it's really good to show that we do.
Yeah, totally agree. Although it might have seen on the mailing list that it was mostly Tuomo communicating with everyone else, but usually I think we can audit that when Tuomo communicated, we first had multiple discussions in team and then helped him formulate an answer or question for the community. But I think that's just like, I just want to emphasize that we all seen it from our side, all of this, and discuss this. But I assume everyone else also who is on the security list shared it with team members and relevant people. Yeah. Okay. So thank you for everyone. Is there any other question related to any of these two, the syntax or the advisory? Okay, if not, then I think I will even extend this if you are here, Leonard.
Yeah, sure.
Then please start also. I already spoken on it.
Yeah, sorry, I was a bit unprepared.
Just your opinions, your feelings, what was like interesting to you related to MetaCube on the KubeCon. I don't want you to go into great details, just yeah.
Yeah, I think, let's see, I would say that it's now quite like the field has matured so much that basic stuff like just deploying an application or creating a cluster, that's not so interesting anymore. I think that was one thing I noticed. And then instead of that, it's more focus on these more advanced things. Security is one, many different tools there, and like new features and stuff in various projects. Another one is then all the management of like day two operations, upgrades and stuff, but also multi-cluster management in various ways. So for example, cluster API, I think was a bit in this category, but there were many other tools that also show that the field has sort of agreed that it's not enough to have one cluster. You need multiple, and then you need some way to manage that. How do you keep your clusters in sync? How do you deploy applications to all the clusters in some unified way and things like that? Yeah, I think that's. Oh yes, one relevant thing, maybe not directly to MetalCube, but anyway, Kubernetes. I chatted with some of the cluster API maintainers, and one thing they mentioned that I was completely surprised about was that they see quite little contributions and focus on etcd, and they wonder if maybe the big cloud providers are focusing on something else and etcd may start to die out. Like, I don't know what they use instead, but I know, for example, in K3s, you can use a normal SQL database instead. No clue, but yeah, that was super surprising to me. I thought etcd was complete standard, but maybe not.
That's surprising for me as well. I'm quite sure OpenShift uses etcd. I've never even considered that it's possible to use anything else.
Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, and I mean, this is just rumors. I don't think they knew anything, but it was just from looking at how etcd was evolving. They saw probably less contributions or something.
Yeah, I'm just writing the notes. Yeah, related to the MetaCube, if Leonard, like, I think very well summarized the general impressions about the whole event. That was, we have to also add that it was huge this year, and there were still like 2,000 people on the waiting list, but on the event there were 10,000 attendees in person. It was a giant event. We were not able to fit into all of the talks that we wanted to, because there were just simply so many people. So the field has grown extremely. It was emphasized even by the organizers that it's just like a huge growth. Almost every company related in different ways to software were there. We have seen, I think, that probably because in 2020, 21, and 22, we, like, especially in the days of the virus, we were not participating physically. There were still many folks and organizations who are doing bare metal deployment with their own custom scripts, not using anything. We heard a big German company had a talk about energy efficiency, and they were mentioning, Leonard asked them on the talk, after the talk, that what are they using, and it was not Ironic, it was not Mass, it was nothing, it was their own scripts, everything in-house. And we still heard this from people, and actually we met with folks because we had a kiosk for 3 days, so we were standing at the kiosk during the AM shifts, as I've shared it with the community, and we still heard from people that they are looking for what we are able to offer, as in like the MetaCube stack or just the BMO. Most of them were looking for the whole stack, actually. And they found us on the event. They heard about us on the event first, so it was very interesting that still many people, many organizations do it on their own, and not even using anything, even all the like more established technology, like just OpenStack or anything. It's interesting. And then yeah, we have seen that there is an interest, as I said, and it was from wide range of companies. One interesting thing that we noticed, that AI companies, we had a few startups, I believe, all was AI, and they were mentioning that they have, because that they have these GPU equipped small racks, custom hardware, they actually were looking for something like MetaCube, and it's understandable that their setup is a bit different compared to the regular providers, what they offer, or maybe they just do it, they can do it cheaper if they have it on-prem. But regardless, they were looking for something like our project. It was also interesting that the other projects that do the same things as us or similar, like the Mass provider or Tinkerbell, and they were not there. We haven't seen them, so it was also interesting that in this area we were the only ones present with a booth in any form. Yeah, so it was actually great to gauge that there is still an interest, and what we heard during the discussion. So there were the set of folks who were interested in just the general topic. They heard about us. Yeah, that's one group, but people who actually were either users or experimented with us or just generally were knowledgeable about the topic. What they were how to say, like recommending or we're looking for is if possible network device management, or at least monitoring or some level of abstraction over network devices. That they said would be great if we would be able to combine that with our bare metal provisioning abilities. And then that we had a great talk about fencing with one person who were explaining to us that it's very nice how we have these abilities to provision, inspect, and all that, but how do we handle misbehaving nodes in like an atomic safe manner? And he was talking with us about this process of fencing, making sure to remove the nodes and absolutely wipe them and clean them from everywhere and so on. So that's something that we have in like, if you combine separate features, but not like a switch that you can flick and everything is put in place. Yeah, so that were interesting talks. Yeah, I think that's all from my side. Do you have any questions that you would be interested? Because I have not talked about everything, just my impressions.
Just like to mention that I also heard Metal3 very briefly mentioned in all of the talks. Other than, I think it's one was in the keynote, and then the other one was Karsten from IKEA. He was presenting in CiliumCon, and Metal3 was mentioned there as well. I wanted to ask that this fencing, how is it different from the remediation thing that we do? Or can we expand the remediation? Is it the same thing or is it different?
Almost, but the focus here was to completely, so it wasn't just that you had to say like reuse sort of the nodes or such, but what he was explaining is to exclude it, sort of quarantine it, like you would quarantine a node in the Kubernetes context, and then wipe it clean, but don't put it back, but like have it in a state that is this killed off or just quarantine state on the hardware level. Like he was mentioning, to not even touch that hardware anymore, like just remove it completely, but still keep track of it, know about that it's cleaned off, powered off, and put on the side. Like that was what he was talking about, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think to make it easier to understand, the reason why he needed it and why people in general need it is if you have workload data that cannot tolerate multiple replicas, or like you cannot, let's say you are running a database, for example, and the node where it runs, it goes down. So you don't know the status of that node. Like it's just unknown. It's not responding. Then it's dangerous to spin up a new replica of that database on another node until you know for sure that it's not accessing the volume where it has the data or things like that. So the fencing can mean many different things, but the main goal is to ensure that nothing is happening on that node. If we can then, for example, through Ironic, find out that the node is powered off, then it's safe, it won't do anything. Or if we can, something else, I don't know. It can mean different things, but just, yeah, ensure that nothing will happen to the data or workload on that node anymore, and then it's safe to start running somewhere else.
Yeah, I might have even went a bit into the possible implementation as I talked. So yeah, basically just ensuring that's in an inert state and you keep an eye on it. that was right. That was basically what he was mentioning. And of course, this person was not explaining any implementation detail. He was just interested about that, whether we considered something like this. And yeah, we don't have a, as I mentioned, one annotation or one thing that does this. Of course, you probably able to get there if you know all of our features and combine steps to do so, but it's not like a one-click feature. And yeah, just reflecting to what Kashif mentioned, yeah, we heard about both mentions when MetaCube was mentioned, and we actually had, even on 2 different days, personal discussion with Karsten from IKEA, or I always forget his name, sorry, but yeah, we even met with him on the event. And when MetaCube was mentioned on the keynote, we were very surprised. We were sitting in the audience on that keynote. So yeah, that was a great surprise. Yeah, but it was still, we are still kind of seen as something new, which is good. But also I see that there are potential users who are not seeking us out, and which is interesting, and not seeking us any ready to use tools.
Yeah, there are many who don't know about us, and also quite many that asked, well, is it production ready? And they are, I think, also some that said that, yeah, they looked at Metal3 a couple of years ago or something, and it didn't feel mature enough. And is it ready now? So there are people on the fence. They are thinking and watching.
Yeah, and I had an impression that ready means different thing for people. So people who has bigger organization than the budget to delegate a few folks on it, to learn it, to communicate in the community and to implement or use it in-house. They generally are like okay with it. But smaller organizations who just want to like install it and run it, those find it not production ready, because we don't really provide in their eyes and I agree with them, the necessary how to say help, and it mostly documentation, even though we were promoting the books and community meeting and everything, always mentioning it, and even mentioning that it is part of OpenShift. So they can get even commercial support in a way if they use it together with OpenShift through Red Hat. But even then, people find it still a foggy area, how this works. At least that was my impression. Yeah. And we heard the rumor, I don't know when or if it's true, but we heard the rumor from multiple sources that Rancher will provide installation for MetaCube. So that was again a new thing because they have this app store, not kind of a store, but like this package manager sort of thing in Rancher, and it will provide MetaCube. At least that's what I heard. Yeah, I guess that's it from our side. Is there any further question? Okay.
Not for me. Thank you very much for sharing.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, if nothing, then yeah, last thing, I although I promised, but like this KubeCon was busier than I expected. I managed to send today this poll about the times related to the PTG. Please check this. I trying to base the dates on what we discussed last time, and after playing with this doodle, at least I have not managed to just make a custom poll for topics. So if you want to help the community prioritize, or me personally prioritize the topics that we would bring into the meeting, then just all of you should be able to edit it. So just put either a comment or just an edit and write +1 next to any of like the titles if you are interested, because then the more +1 I find, I will move it up, because that has greater interest in the community. Okay, that's that. And then the last, do you have any questions related to the PTG poll or to the document? Problems with permissions, anything? Okay, if not, then I think, Ricardo, you can continue with the outreach update.
Thank you. Just very quickly to inform you that we chose the internet, but the official announcement will be done only next week. I think it's May 4th. So we'll have another week to go before having the internet available. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you. Last time, I don't see more topics, so I suggest we move on to triaging. Last time, 2 weeks ago, we have not triaged, so there are a few, but I think we can get through these quickly. And let's just sort by the newest. Okay, E2S for CAPI IPAM contract. In general, okay. We discussed that it would be nice to have more granular E2E anyways. So from my side, I have no objections for this one. And it's an already existing feature. I also think we should provide tests for it.
Yeah, this is basically follow-up. We wanted to take in the first PR without making it larger, but yeah, he promised to provide more tests also for it. So I think it's straightforward.
Yeah. I think it doesn't need anything else. Should I assign Jakob, or should I not assign anyone?
I think you could assign him. At least he said in the PR that he will add tests. So yeah, I think you can assign him.
Next one, CAPM3. Yeah, this is related, I believe, to the security advisories, right?
Yep.
We discussed it during, at least when we were assessing those.
Yeah, I see he assigned me. I guess I keep it in the backlog, but I'm not planning on working on it immediately, at least.
I can remove the assignment, open it for others. I can put help required on this, or would you like to stay assigned?
I don't know. It will probably be a while before I get to it anyway. So yeah, maybe better ask for help.
Okay. Let me just quickly read through it again. Yeah, is there any objection to it? Because from my side, it seems logical, and I known about this proposal. But is there anyone who objects that this should be restrained?
It's anyway just going to be like default config then.
Yeah, of course.
I'm quite sure we run it the proposed way in OpenShift. That is, we run all MetaCube components on masters specifically, not on workers.
Yeah.
So that's going to
Yeah,
match what we are doing.
Okay, that's great.
I guess there is another issue in the BMO repo, right? It would be weird to have only this one.
I have seen multiple ones, I believe. West, yeah.
Yeah, okay, it's there. Good,
Yeah,
nice,
it's there.
nice.
And now Zane was assigned. I think he's not in the core. On the core, so I won't.
Yeah, Zane cannot be on this call. It's deep night for him.
Yeah. Sadly, I think he will respond anyways. But from my side, just as for the previous one, this is fine. I think we agree. Okay, next one, on documentation how to configure. That again result of the security work. It's just documentation. Yeah, that never hurts, I believe. It's just basically documenting that way how to restrict BMO to run in one namespace or to access only one namespace. Okay, and then now these are a bit more unknown to me. So safe host status triggers even on unchanged object, and it will be, I believe, all BMO. This next few, and it was actually addressed to you, Dimitri.
What's that? Sorry, I got distracted for a minute.
Yeah, you were just pinged on this.
Okay, I'll take a look. I haven't got any of my notifications. Probably just lost. Yeah, if you can send me a link somehow, or just
Okay, if
like passing the document over Slack.
Yeah, I think on Zoom it's the simplest for me. The Zoom chat. I am not that like, I don't have this familiarity with the internals of the BMO. We can get back to this if you read it. I will continue,
I
but
will need to dive into code to
yeah.
say something meaningful. I'm not ready to discuss now.
Okay, sure. I will leave it like that. And then this was one. This is another one again. BMO again. Field. And hardware details. I read this and I even vaguely remember that when Ferus was still working on this project, haven't he even at that time proposed to be this in a CRD, not in an official way, but I feel like this was a discussion even long time ago that hardware details might be better in their own CRD. I might be mistaken. Help me out here.
Yeah, so the thing was this hardware details are pretty large. So their proposal was to eventually move them out of status and into a separate customer source. The customer source has been created, it exists, it works now. What did not happen is deprecation of the status field. So at least before we make the final stable version of our bare metal host API, we have to solve this problem. And I believe the goal is to deprecate the status field as mentioned here. We just never got to that.
Okay, that clears the things up. It's more of a question. Is there a question label here? Yeah. So this was a question. I accept it. It has to be triaged. But this is a question, and I think this was to be linked in the PTG document here.
Actually mentioned the same thing in this very document. So there is a topic for API stabilization down below. I think that belongs there.
Rather than, okay, fine.
Mentioning there, if you could paste the link, that'd be good. Yeah, here.
Yeah, I can just put it like that. Okay, thanks. Yeah, that's nice there. Okay, I accepted this. You are already in discussion, so please close it if you are satisfied or reach the end of it, or if you want to keep it for until we manage to deprecate it and have a stable API, that's fine. We might then have to move it into frozen because I don't know how much time that will take.
Yeah, we can probably convert it from a question to an actual thing. I'll take a look.
Okay, thanks. Oh, and next one is Metal3 provider. This is CapM3 from Mohammed.
Yeah, this is just a small issue I noticed when running the E2E test locally. This CapM3 release branch bound variable. I used to default it to main, but I'm not quite sure if it's the value that should be defaulted. I just wanted someone to investigate and fix this, possible with the right default value.
So you actually even provided a recreation step here, right?
It should happen whenever you run the E2E locally. I think on the CI, project infra is defaulting this CapM3 release branch with some values, but when you run it locally, you need some default value.
Okay, so it's a missing default value basically.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's a a clear-cut issue. Others, any opinion? And then you want someone else to check it. So I put a help label on it. Okay, thanks for reporting this. IPv4 address in bare metal host is different from actual IPv4 address. I even answered this. It can be different, especially if you run DHCP. It can be different, and I even answered this. We basically don't do anything with it. Okay, this is still waiting for some communication. I even pinged the original issuer. Yeah, and we discussed it. We have a recording of this. We can continue. Fail to create copy cluster sometimes without. Yeah, these are not the old ones. So these are the ones where the communication broke down a little bit. Let me ping on this. Let me ping the issuer.
I think this is related to the thing I
Yeah.
have a PR on. So like once we merge it, I think it will. So we do not set the unnecessary status on the objects in KPM3.
Yeah, sounds great. I will just ping the original issuer to
Okay.
just signal that what is his opinion, or ask what's his opinion.
Sure. Yeah.
Let's keep conversation live. Thanks for your comments on it. Okay, we will leave it like that. And then auto discovery. Yes, I think here the communication is also broken down and the original issuer was pinged. I think this was discussed on multiple committee meetings, how we do what is our opinion or like capabilities related to discovery and differences between us and mass. So we can skip this. And with this, we have these 4. One will be checked by Dimitri, and there are 3 other older ones. Okay. Oops, I didn't want to click on that. Okay, stale. What went into stale? That might be not stale. We may try to update the I remove the stale, I remove the stale, I remove the stale. Can you, Dimitri, give me some info about this? Is it fine if I just remove the stale and leave it active?
I've lost track of the thing, unfortunately. I think it could be still the problem. I'm not sure how to solve that, nor am I sure if I'm going to be able to solve it in the near future, to be honest.
I can move this to frozen also. If you lost track of it and nobody else seem to be communicating on this, I can just move this to frozen.
I can even allow it to get stale and closed. It's still possible to look for it the search. If somebody hits the same problem, we can revive it always.
Yeah, okay, that's fine by me. Add image signatures to GitHub action pipeline. Oh yeah, yeah, there is a plan to, no, not to the pipeline, like, yeah, there is a plan to sign images. OCI images, yes, yes, yes. I just, sorry for my dog is barking. I won't remove the stay. I will remove the stay, but I put it on frozen because there is a clear plan. I even tested the tools, and we will have to do it anyways because we have downstream requirements for this also. So now there are multiple things that are pushing me. I just have other things to do, but and I am not assigned, but for this I should be assigned actually, because I looked into this. Okay, this is an active thing. Okay, there is a user guide or diagram to describe the bare metal inspection provisioning workflow. Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, you already can find quite a lot if you just read the ironics, but of course we have differentiations because of the BMO. And we agreed on a common tool. I think we agreed on draw.io. I remember making the poll. So yeah, this is still open, and it's, I believe, a good thing to do, a good first issue even. It needs a help, and let me check it. Good first issue. Just legit. I have to stay on that help. Really thought the good first issue. Oh, I added it manually. So, okay. And then there is this webhook. This was agreed. Many of us agreed. There was work done on this, I believe. I even think there was PR merged for this. Yeah, right. Oh. Yeah, we were fine with this. Okay, so the PR is still open. And it is on the in the Octo test stage. There were some CI troubles and still okay. Yes, 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 I remember this. It's an active stuff. Very active. Okay. Okay, we managed to get through this. Frozen, I assume this have not really changed. There is only old stuff in here. Yeah, that I moved there just now, and all the others are just old. Probably I put there myself. No, it was actually forgot. Yeah, this is minor stuff. Yeah. This I don't remember. This is the only one I don't remember putting here. Yeah. The original issue I mentioned that he has no bandwidth. Okay, yeah, frozen seems to be as expected, and then help wanted. Yeah, these were the security related stuff. This was the one, yeah. And then broken links, good first issue. That was Mohammed's current E2E issue. This was a bug, an old one. I don't remember this one. This is the orphan node. I remember discussion about this. I remember not so long ago we discussed this. Yeah, last month. And we decided that someone should take a look. Okay. Yeah, this one is actually something that if someone wants to contribute, go and do some debugging, that would be one big help. This one, this CapM3 orphan node get stuck issue number 890. Yeah. And I think all the others have been already discussed in the past. These are older. Yeah, please check those. If you have time and you want to work on something different than your usual workload. Okay. So we finished with the triaging. Is there anyone who want to add something, ask something, suggest something, have some problems related to anything around the project? Any question? Okay, if nothing, you can always ask on the email or on the Slack. So thank you for your time today. It was a bit long, and I hope we meet on the next meeting. And have a great rest of the day. Bye bye.
Thank you and bye.
Thank you, Adam, for hosting.
Thank you.
Thank you.